Friends, we are discussing about water today. Water is so precious for us. We think that water is life, and that is indeed very true. Water is life. We drink water, our bodies are made of water, and without water, we can't think of surviving. And we also know that water has to be pure. It has a certain level of purity, a certain level of minerals which are added to water. So our quest, or the mankind quest, is to basically get access to the pure drinking fresh water. And that arises a question, where when we are actually spending so much money, our money, hard-earned money, in building these plants, purification plants, and whenever we drink water, we think that water is absolutely fresh. In fact, there are certain brands which are actually selling crystal clear water. Their whole brand is based on how much purified their water is. Therefore, I think the question is that we think while drinking the water that water is absolutely pristine. However, how ancient is this water? That is the question that we are discussing. Even though we think it's fresh, it is recently brewed, but is it really fresh, or how ancient is this? And that is a profound question that we are discussing. So let us discuss about the water molecule. We know that the water consists of one part oxygen and two part hydrogen. That means one atom of oxygen and two atoms of hydrogen. And the atom or the molecule of the water is lopsided. As you can see, both the hydrogen atoms are attached on one side of the molecule. So we will come to this aspect of the water which makes water so special. But let us break it down into the individual ingredients of the water. So let's start with the simplest one, which is hydrogen. And as you know, hydrogen is pretty much nothing more than the proton itself, single proton. And soon after the Big Bang, when the universe was quite hot, it was so hot that it was not conducive for particles to form. That means matter to form. It was still in the form of energy. And when it cooled down, after roughly about 300,000 years after the Big Bang, then the first particles started to form. And these particles were quarks. And still the universe was quite hot. But soon after, it actually cooled down for quarks to come together to form proton. So essentially, proton is the oldest material found in the universe. And proton is the basic building block. We are all made of proton. Every atom of our body has protons. These protons were formed soon after the Big Bang. These are the oldest material available in the entire universe. And the proton has a very long life. You cannot destroy a proton. You can, scientists now believe that the proton has a very, very long life. It may last for about 31 trillion years. So the universe itself is only 13 billion years. So proton has a very long life. So it was born quite early, and it has long way to go. And hydrogen atom is made of single proton, which is a basic hydrogen atom. There are various variants of hydrogen, but the basic hydrogen is made of single proton, and it has one electron. So essentially, hydrogen, which is a constituent part of water molecule, is the oldest material available in the universe. So that is spoken about hydrogen. Let's move to the next aspect of our universe. The higher element than hydrogen was formed between the first generation star, in the core of first generation star. In the beginning, there were a lot of hydrogen atoms everywhere, and the gravity played its game, and the large, huge clouds of hydrogen collapsed to form large, huge stars. These are the first generation stars entirely made of hydrogen. And as you know, that the hydrogen is the core fuel of the star even today. And these stars actually create lot of pressure at the core, because the material is so densely packed, and therefore these stars are the fusion reactor. What happens in a fusion reactor? You merge two lighter atoms to form a heavier element. So essentially all the heavier elements started to form in the core of the stars, starting with the next element, which is helium. So if the temperature in the core of the star is 15 million degrees, the hydrogen will basically combine and create helium atom, and that is how the production factory of the star continues until the time all the hydrogen is exhausted and has become helium. But then the temperature rises because the star shrinks, creating much more pressure. When the temperature of the core reaches 100 million degrees, then the helium will start to merge, and so on and so forth. This process continues. So basically, the stars are the factory where higher elements, more complex elements are created, including carbon and oxygen. So we can safely say that the oxygen was produced by the first generation star soon after hydrogen basically collapsed into forming the first generation stars. So at least the life of the oxygen atom that we have spread across our universe is at least 12 billion years. The rough estimate is even the oxygen atom is fairly old and roughly about 12 billion years old. So now we know that the oxygen is 12 billion years old, and the hydrogen is at least 13 billion years old, and very, very ancient atoms which forms the water. Now let's come back to the water molecule. Water molecule has two hydrogen atoms and one oxygen atom, which makes it a lopsided molecule. As you can see in this picture, the scientists know the angle at which the hydrogen atoms are connected to oxygen atom very precisely, and oxygen atom on the side of oxygen atom there is negative more negative current polarity, or on this side, on the hydrogen side, there is more positive. So because of this, molecule of water acts like a magnet actually, because it has positive and negative, or like a battery. So this is, even though is a stable molecule, but it exhibit some sort of a current, and because of this basic property of water molecule, it's basically having a current or showing little bit of attraction. So it exerts force on the surrounding areas, and the best way it actually affect the surrounding area is another water molecule. So water molecules start to basically bind together to form a viscous liquid, and because of this property of having charge in the molecule, water is also known as universal solvent. You mix anything in water, it mixes thoroughly. It has the capability to mix almost 99.9% material found in the universe, and it mix them thoroughly, all because of this particular property of water, which gives it charge. And because of this charge, it has the ability to basically get all the other molecules mixed thoroughly into water. And therefore water is a very important property of water, that it's a solvent. And once it becomes a universal solvent, it has the ability to mix so many the material in the universe, and when there so many materials are available in water, it is a very good medium to start chemical reactions. And that is why we say that water is probably responsible for inventing life, or organic life as we know, or basically creating life as we know in our universe. So if there was no water, there would be no life, there will be no chemical reaction, there will be no material available, there will be no churn, etc. So water has this very strong ability. So since the material with which water is formed is very ancient, that means the water itself is very ancient. The water itself must be at least 12 billion years old. All the water that exists in our universe. And since it is made of very basic material, the material which was formed at the time of soon after the Big Bang, and very early in the universe, so all the water which is present in the space must be very, very ancient. The chances are, since this water molecule is in abundance, in addition to carbon, we are all made of carbon, the carbon based life found on earth. So water, carbon, all these materials were already available when the sun started to form. So universe is 13.8 billion years, water is at least 12 billion years old, sun is only 5 billion years old. So all the water was already present in the area of space where sun start to take shape, and subsequently planets started to take shape. So it is safer to say that all the water found on earth was already present in this area of space, and then earth got a fair share of water, which makes oceans and all kinds of water bodies on earth. Although you must know, friends, that earth is not the biggest water body found in the solar system. There are other bodies in our solar system which has way more water than what we have on earth, many times more water than we have on earth. Earth has less than 1% water. I mean, if you calculate the mass of earth, the earth mass is nearly 99.4% other material like rocky material, and only 0.6% of water, considering the entire volume of the earth. So earth has little water, but there are other areas where there are more water in the space. So the water that we drink every day, we don't even appreciate how ancient that water that we are drinking, how ancient is the water which is all around us. And the water creates water cycle, water creates life, and all our bodies have at least 60 to 70% water. So we must appreciate that the most of the material which is found in our body, which is found in our life, is really ancient. And when we drink our water, it is also very ancient water.